Started. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining our class session today. Welcome to a product management course. My name is Felix. I'm going to be teaching this course. And let's start. I wanted to wish everybody Happy New Year. Hopefully you've all recovered from the holidays and are ready to do some serious stuff as part of this class. So let me share my screen and we'll get started. Can you all see my screen? All right, thank you. So this class is going to be about product management, and let me start by introducing myself. So as I said, my name is Felix. I currently work as a senior product manager at First American Financial Corporation. This company is involved in real estate business. If you've ever had a real estate transaction, whether you know it or not, First American was probably part of that transaction. They do anything and everything from mortgages to title insurance to property reports, and they participate in pretty much almost every real estate transactions in the United States and in large part in Canada as well. Overall, I have over 15 years of experience in product management. Previous companies that I worked with were Ernst & Young, Silicon Valley Bank, ADESA, and OpenLane, and I've worked across multiple industries, real estate where I work now, banking, health, HR, and automotive resales. I've originally graduated from Santa Clara University as a software engineer, and I started my work initially while I was still in school as a software QA, then moved on to software developer, and eventually transitioned to a PM role, which I've been doing for the last 15 or so years. My hobbies include hiking, spending time with the family. I've got a lovely wife and 4 kids. I really enjoy puzzles as well, such as Sudoku and Wordle. Now, a little bit more about the class. So who is this class for? Well, for one, anybody who's interested about learning what product management is, what's it about, and wants to start down the journey of product management work, this class is for you. More specifically, considering that this is part of the Portnova Online school, which is oriented more towards preparing QA professionals, we're going to also have a bit of that lean where, we're going to focus on how QA and other tech professionals who might be interested in learning product management and transitioning into that role, what is the path that they may take, and we'll focus on the skills that may need to be learned a little bit extra as somebody who's coming from a more technical background, and making sure that that transition is successful.
Sure.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to say, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask them anytime. I'm a strong supporter of class participation, so don't feel bad about interrupting and asking questions. By all means, that's how I'd like this class to go. Thank you. So now, why QAs and other tech professionals, but QAs in particular, make a good candidate for transitioning to product management? Well, there is quite a lot of interaction between what QAs do and what PMs do that make this transition in many ways seamless or natural. Now, PMs focus on what needs to be built and the reasons why something needs to be built. But it's up to QA to ensure that the delivery of what's being built meets expectations and works in a way that is actually helpful to the customer. So when the PMs and the QAs fields interact, we get ultimately the customer satisfaction, which is what any company wants. Now, what are the connections that can be outlined between product management and QA in their traditional roles? So the QA tie-ins from the PM side include, defining the acceptance criteria. We need to make sure that the quality is given top priority, because if we don't account for the product quality, it's not going to occur naturally. So we need to make sure that there is time dedicated to make sure that the regression tests are run fully, that there is time to track bugs in pre-production environments for the last UAT acceptance testing. PMs need to be very good at clarifying the why. It really kind of goes beyond the QA, but it's important to QA role in particular to understand why a particular feature or a product needs to be built, how the customers are going to benefit from that feature being added, and having a full vision into the customer benefits and how they're going to use it allows QA to really develop a better understanding and cover all angles of testing that feature. And then PMs also need to balance trade-offs. When does it make sense to be okay with perhaps a bug or a feature not working exactly as it's specified, but still deliver some value to the customers? And when is it best to say, well, no, hold on, we're not going to ship anything until we fix the problems that were identified, and deliver specifically what the customer needs, rather than taking a risk of delivering something that's not exactly needed. From the other side, there are also tie-ins to the PM work as well. PMs create the user stories, and QAs help them ensure that the user stories are clear, complete, and testable. They help validate the requirements. QAs have a good eye for identifying missing scenarios or edge cases early in planning. QAs share insights from the defects that they find, and they can identify problematic trends before anybody else. Because QAs always have the user-first perspective, they can identify user issues, and they will also share the regression results with the PMs to help PMs make the correct decisions on how to move forward. And ultimately, QAs are the ones who safeguard the user experience. They ensure that the final product behaves as PMs and the users expect. Any questions on what I've talked about so far?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. So moving on. So what makes it easy for QA to transition to a PM role? QA engineers are trained to analyze user flows, find edge cases, and break down complex problems. This is something that's an innate part of a QA's job. And this is really the same analytical mindset that PMs and the product owners need to understand problems and define clear requirements. So a QA that's transitioned to a PM or PO role can easily anticipate issues early in the product lifecycle, which improves the initial product quality and reduces rework. A QA tester who catches user friction in a checkout flow, for example, can translate that insight into a user story or a future improvement as a product manager. QA roles are all about user experience, ensuring that products behave as users expect. And this is something that PMs do quite a lot in their role as well. What's the user trying to do? Where do they get stuck? What's most valuable to fix or improve? What should be worked on first from a user's perspective? This is all part of a PM's role that QA can easily adapt to, because it also represents quite a lot that happens in the QA role as well. QA professionals are usually really, really good at reading, interpreting, and testing requirements as well. And this is also aligns and translates really well for a PM role, because PMs have to do quite a lot of that when they write and prioritize requirements. QAs know the difference between vague and testable acceptance criteria. And this is something that PMs need to be able to recognize as well, to be able to write high quality user stories and acceptance criteria. QA already works closely with developers, designers, and product managers to clarify behaviors and fix issues. This type of collaboration is something that's critical for a PM. Because PMs must align on a daily basis, not only with the teams that I mentioned, the developers, designers, and product managers, but also with other teams, such as go-to-market teams, sales, and so on. QA professionals already ask clarifying questions and facilitate problem-solving discussions. And they need to communicate effectively across disciplines, across different teams. This is something that's extremely valuable for a PM role as well. Additionally, modern QAs often work within agile frameworks. They attend daily stand-ups, participate in sprint planning, test deliverables, and this gives QA first-hand exposure to Scrum ceremonies, story refinement, and release cycles. A lot of that is still something that product managers and product owners will be involved in. QAs already have an understanding of what backlog grooming is, why sprint velocity is important, and the importance of iterative improvement overall. QA engineers already rely on Matrix for the work that they do. They pay attention to defect rates, regression test pass percentages to understand the quality of the product. PMs use data to measure the success of the changes and the features that they work on. What are the conversion rates from, for example, a trial model of the product to a paid version? How large is the user engagement? What is the user turnover? So transitioning QA professionals already know how to measure, analyze, and communicate number-based insights. Now, in a PM role, they just are going to expand that to business and user outcomes instead of bugs and test cases. And QA constantly evaluates severity and the impacts of defects they find. And this transitions almost naturally into prioritizing product features and backlog items. They're already skilled in asking what's critical, what can wait, what breaks user trust, what is something that the user may want immediately. And this is the mindset that goes into a lot of the PM's prioritization decision-making. Any questions on this?
No.
No,
Thanks.
pretty clear.
Yeah, please go ahead. Okay.
No, I said pretty clear. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Isaac. I thought you may have a question.
No.
Gotcha. Thanks. So these are kind of the parts of the PM's job that QA will align with really well. Of course, there are some things that are going to be relatively new to somebody who's coming from a QA background. And these are kind of the additional skills that are needed that perhaps are not part of the day-to-day QA activities, or that need to be learned in an extra capacity by somebody who's transitioning from a QA or a tech role into a PM role. Product strategy. Understand the why behind building features. What is the reasoning? How is a particular product feature helps the customer? When does it need to be delivered? How does it help the company? What kind of return on investment are we going to get by delivering a specific feature? Are we going to have an increased user interest? Are we going to meet a basic user need that's not being met currently? All of that is something that's relatively new to somebody who's coming over from QA tech position. Customer discovery, trying to understand what a user actually needs. This is also a somewhat different mindset and different skill than what's generally used in a QA role. Prioritization frameworks, and while QA is pretty good at prioritizing bugs and defects, learning how to prioritize value versus the effort needed to deliver a particular feature or a product is something that needs to be expanded. These prioritization approaches need to be learned from more of a business perspective. And in general, becoming more familiar with the business processes and connecting product decisions to the overall company goals. This is going to be something that's also relatively new to somebody from transitioning from a tech position. And then stakeholder management. So a lot of what PM does is communicate with different groups who are involved in delivering a particular project. And there are also stakeholders who are having certain expectations about how the product is going to be delivered. And oftentimes there are competing needs, competing requirements from these different stakeholders. And in order to be able to work with them and understanding which particular feature, which particular product needs to take priority over the others, and not only making a decision about that priority, but also convincing the business stakeholders, the higher up management, as to why your decision of taking feature 1 first versus feature 2 is the right decision, and making them agree with you is definitely a skill set that's very important to a product manager. Any questions on this?
No.
All right, thank you. Now, a sample career path of somebody who's transitioning from a QA role to a product management role may look something like this. Somebody starts as a QA engineer, grows to a senior QA or QA lead type position, and then becomes interested in the product type role, and joins as an associate or a junior product owner, product manager type position, then transitions fully to a product owner, and eventually becomes a full-blown product manager. Of course, everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different. It doesn't mean that you have to go through every single step on this career path. No, I've seen QA engineers that jump directly to a product owner type position without becoming seniors or leads or managers. So this is just an example. Everybody's path is going to be a little bit different. And we have one person on the call with us today. Her name is Tanya Kontsevich. If you took other classes at Portnova Online, you probably already know her, as she is a wonderful teacher for several of those classes. And what you may not know is that Tanya recently transitioned from her QA role to a product manager type role. And Tanya, if you're online, can you please share your experience with the class?
Yeah, Felix, thank you so much. And thanks everyone and welcome everyone. Yeah, to those of you who know me, you know me. And if you don't know me, I've been Portnov graduate and I've been in QA for over 10 years until eventually I kind of was trying to see what else I can do. And within the company that, so like what Felix was explaining, that that's very common career path when QA are transitioning to either development or QA automation or product management role. So I had this chance to transition from QA at my company to product management position. It happened to me in September. So there was a period where I was doing kind of both things, and I would have to cover for my previous role, which was leading the QA team, and my current role, which is the product management. But wherever I joined a little bit later. But from what I've heard and what Felix was pointing out, to whatever skills we already have, whatever knowledge we already have in terms of what should be the good test documentation, which we normally write based on user stories and acceptance criteria and all the documentation that product creates. These years of, or even not even years, maybe just months for some of you, of experience working with documentation that somebody did create kind of made us those good created a good inner judgment inside us for how documentation should be looking, what kind of information should be included, what kind of questions QA would ask, because I know I would ask the same questions. So basically now as I'm writing user stories, acceptance criteria, I am trying to switch my head around and remember me as a QA. And I would try to cover as much as possible, not to the reasonable extent, cover different scenarios, cover different acceptance criteria, and provide information upfront. So that's something definitely that helped me helping me to be a product manager is the experience in QA that I had previously. Plus, again, from what we have been talking about, the career path is that when you are a good QA and you are asking good questions and you are able to lead your, not necessarily the team and people, but you can lead your feature testing and how do you care about that and how you carry this, then it creates visibility, and a lot of times, especially you can just ask, even if you feel like it's not possible, but you can just ask. You can just ask, is there any way for me to transition from one to another? So that's one point. Like, you are QA who have experience and you want to do something else, or you might not be, again, having a lot of experience. You just want to do something else and want to grow. But again, that's kind of one point, and that was always the same. Always QAs were able to go to project management positions. That's not something that was ever close to us. But I think that now, even if you are not going to go to QA, from QA to PM, right? So even if you are not going to do it, I think that PM skills becomes more and more essential because again, like all of us, if not yet, but very soon, are going to be working a lot with all those different AI assistants who will do work for us. The one that we can, we don't want to do it. It's boring. It's repetitive. It's something that can be easily delegated to AI assistants. Though the thing is that if we don't have good product skills, we cannot be a good master of any AI assistant. We won't be able to create AI assistant for ourselves or make it work the way we want to be if we, again, do not apply a product management skill. So product management skills are becoming essential if you're doing QA, and you want to stay in QA, but you do have insights into product management and you know how it's supposed to be. You will understand your product team better. You will kind of work together better if you know what they are trying to achieve and what they're doing. So that's going to be beneficial for sure, even if you're not going to change your career. And given the AI era that we're entering, I think that we all need to be managers essentially, and we all need to be able to clearly communicate goals, clearly communicate the requirements, like what would be our definition of done, what we want to have at the end from our AI assistant. So that's the point number two. Because again, we do not know how things are going to be. Maybe eventually there will be no even roles like developer, QA, PM. There will be maybe some just human who are building software, and you will be a little bit of everyone, like a little bit of development, a little bit of QA, a little bit of product, a little bit of everyone. And not to take a lot of time, and I can take questions if any. I'd like to also say thanks to Felix, because you do not know that, and we are not actually. I met Felix once, but we not in any kind of close connections. But I last time when the product management class started, I was doing another class in parallel, but I was curious about it, and I watched materials later. So whatever was covered by Felix actually helped me a lot to structure all the different materials that I was reading about my new role and my new profession. So Felix, thank you so much for organizing everything and bringing it
Thank you.
together in such a good, concise, clear way with all these different examples. So yeah, it's possible. I've always was saying to you that if I did it, you can do it. So if you want to be a PM, you can definitely be a PM. If you don't want to be a PM, just want to understand better how do we need to think about the strategy and everything. And given the AI era, I would suggest to take this class because I actually I would not say anything supportive for something that I would not be confident. So I am confident in this course. So good luck to you. And if you would have any questions, I am in Slack, and you can just tag me. If you have questions about like in the future how or maybe something from my experience how I was transitioning, you can definitely ping me. I will be able to answer your questions. Thank you.
Tanya, thank you very much for your insight. Nikolai, looks like you have a question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Felix, and it's a nice surprise to see Tanya here. I was taking one of her courses on mobile application testing back in the years. My question, and maybe you or Tanya or both of you could comment on this.
Yeah.
Look, I'm coming from QA engineer position, and my question is, why would I choose to go to product management? This is exactly the story that happened to product manager in my team in the organization where I work now. It used to be QA and then transitioned to PM. What are the advantages? Could you speak a little bit on this? Like, is this a higher salary ceilings, or like less technical and more
Well,
people work? What is it that attracts you in this, and what are
certainly.
your considerations?
I can give you, the reasons what drew me from transition is, so I kind of followed the same path early in my career. When I was still in college, I worked as a QA, then I transitioned to software developer, and last 15 years I've been doing product management. Why did I transition? So I was perfectly happy working as a QA or as a software developer later. And one thing that always made me curious is, while as a software developer, I have a certain amount of freedom in determining how to find a solution for a particular problem. I am not the one who sets this problem in front of me. It is the product management, it's the business. So I was always curious about understanding, well, why do they pick a particular problem that I should be solving as an engineer? What goes into making that determination? And I also wanted to have a little bit more creative freedom, not only in choosing the solution to a particular problem, but perhaps in defining the problem itself and figuring out, well, what should we be solving for? What should be that next feature or next product that my company, my team should be working on? And by transitioning to the product manager role, I have that a bigger input into making a determination of, what exactly am I going to work for next? What exactly should the team focus on next? So that's really kind of what was the draw in for me. Is this a less technical role than a software developer? Certainly, it is. Yet, still, product management falls within the technical part of the organization rather than the business part. Because you need to have a certain amount of technical depth to be able to have level conversations with your counterparts on the development teams, on the QA teams, on the design teams. If you don't have that knowledge, at least, high level, you're not going to be an effective product manager. So, as Tanya said, is this something that should be a path for everybody who's in QA? Definitely not. However, we are living in the age of AI, and it's really changing the playing field. Who knows what the software development team is going to look like, 5 years from now, or even not that far out, 2 years from now. Perhaps everybody will have to be kind of a hybrid type of a role. Somebody who knows enough QA and software development to tell the AI tools what to do, but also has enough of an insight into the product management domain and skills to make sure that whatever they tell AI corresponds to the right product, to the right set of features. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I will just add the same. So exactly the same what I was thinking, that you don't have to, but as Felix mentioned, this can prepare you to be more kind of generic role. You can do anything. So what currently happens to me is that just today I deployed a thing to production that I did. It's not something too sophisticated or anything, but still I did have some addition to our website, which I built using dynamic yield and using Power Automate. And I had to build some web form with that would have XML, SSS, CSS, and JavaScript. And to building that, I was using also Cloud for Anthropic. So I did, me and Cloud from Anthropic built an addition to our website that was deployed today. And so I didn't do I didn't have any developer supporting me, any QA supporting me. I did everything myself. I just, there was a problem we need to solve. Instead of doing that through development, I did it myself and it was shipped today. And we all will be eventually these people who who can develop QA and be a product of any feature that we are going to be adding to our software. So basically, the more generic you become, the more places will be in the industry for you in the next, we can say 2-3 years, and then we do not know what's going to happen after that. Nobody. So yeah, I agree with you, Felix, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. The more you expand your skill set, the more sales points you have, so to speak, the more marketable you are, the more desirable you are to the companies out there. Okay, and looks like we have another question. Agata, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to thank you so much for answering all the parts of that question. But can you cover salary range? Is it usually product managers that make more than QA engineers?
Well, I would say on average, probably the answer is yes. at least the initial starting range for, you know, somebody who's starting in a product owner, product manager path. If we're talking about San Francisco Bay Area, I would say that the starting range can be, you know, 120 and up, and somebody who is you know, a solid product manager or even more into the senior product manager roles, we're talking about, you know, 180 and up, all depending on the company and the industry, of course. But as far as San Francisco Bay Area now goes, that's roughly the starting point. Additionally, one thing that I wanted to mention as far as career paths go, if you're interested in starting your own business, essentially a product manager is a mini CEO of whatever product, whatever area that they're responsible for. They listen to the customer, they monitor the business, and they make decisions on what gets to be built. So this is if you're somebody who wants to eventually transition to starting your own company, creating your own products, especially if we're talking about tech space, this is an invaluable experience for somebody who wants to go down that path.
I have a question.
Yes,
A
please.
A person who is managing the manual QA effort, so that person is a lead for the manual QA effort, but it
Mhm.
has nothing to do with the programming or automation or anything. So how difficult for that person to convert into a product manager?
Well, not really any more difficult than for somebody who is in automation, to be honest.
Not automation.
Yeah. As I mentioned, a product manager role is not necessarily a tech-heavy role.
Mhm.
So,
But they need to know a lot of jargons of the.
well, certainly you need to understand at a very high level, or sometimes not so high level, maybe into the nitty-gritty as well. But you need to understand how things run from a technical perspective. You need to understand how APIs work. You need to have an understanding of how UI design works. You need to have an understanding of how product development cycle works in general, and you know, the general technologies that are out there that may be relevant to the specific product you're building. However, do you need to have the more granular technical expertise that, you know, somebody who is in automation? Not necessarily. Do you necessarily need to be a skilled software developer yourself? Not necessarily. As long as you understand, you know, how the general process of software development works and the kind of tools that are involved and the capabilities of those tools.
Okay. Is it something that we can pick up maybe another 6 months or something?
Well, yes, definitely. If you are going to participate in the class, do the homework, and also work on your own, I don't see why not.
Okay. So you will be covering all the tools that we would be using in the industry.
Certainly. I'll further down the I'm going to go into the outline of the class, the topics we'll be covering, and definitely this is a hands-on class. So
Okay.
we're going to have exercises, team activities.
Okay.
We're going to go over tools. One of the sessions is going to be dedicated completely to working with AI. And the last class is going to be focused specifically on, you know, job search in a product manager field in modern days. And one other thing that I wanted to mention as well is those of you who have already taken Portnoy online classes know that we have great support in terms of helping you with building your resume and you know, getting you ready for the market.
Okay.
So Jana, who's has been doing that for the QA, also has been working with me
Mhm.
on how to make similar changes for targeting specifically product owner, product manager type jobs. So this is something that can be provided for those who are going to be taking this class if they're interested. And I see Alex has a question as well.
Yeah, hi. So quick question. I'm sorry if you already answered this question. So could you
Go
please
ahead.
expand? Could you please expand on the AI tools and skills that this course will deliver, like more in detail, please? Thank you.
Well, no, I have not spoken about AI in detail yet, but yeah, we're going to have an entire session that focuses how AI helps in product management, the day-to-day tasks. For example, how AI can help with figuring out who might be the best product user set for the product that we're about to build. It can help analyze the market space out there, who are potential competitors, who are perhaps have similar offerings.
Mhm.
What are the features that those offerings have? What can be built that will make our specific product stand out from those competitors? Additionally, creating a roadmap for my product, making a prioritization, what the features should be built first, what features should be built second, and what should perhaps wait until our initial release has been done.
Okay.
How to break down a particular feature into workable user stories and the acceptance criteria for that. So that's something that's we're going to be covering in this class for sure. Okay, any other questions, anybody?
No, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so let's move on and talk a little bit more about, what is product management? What's all the fuss is about? And we can start, the basic question, what is a product? Does anybody want to share their opinion? What is a product?
Product, that's something that you prepare for with the requirements for the customer.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, more or less a product is, it's anything that can be offered to a market to satisfy a customer's need or desire. And it can take any form. Could be a physical item, service, experiences. It's something that's created to meet consumer demands and can be very different in form and function. So some examples of different products, there are physical items, a car, bread, clothing. These are all products. There are services out there, Well, this class on product management is a service, for example. That's a product as well, a service product. Getting a haircut, staying in a hotel, email services, financial software, various computer games or movie streaming platforms. Those are all service type products. Separate type of service product is an experience. So, attending a sports event or going to a concert, dining in a fine restaurant, for example, that's an experience type product, but all of these things are product. So ultimately, all businesses make money by selling products in one form or another. So a product manager, as you can guess, is a pretty important person, because a product manager ultimately determines, which product is going to be built and which features that product is going to have. So product management is really the process of planning, developing, launching, and improving a product to meet customer needs and business goals. Product management acts as a bridge between business, technology, and user experience. So it's a collaborative type of work. Product management work closely with teams like engineering, design, marketing, sales, production support to bring a product to life. As I mentioned, it's not necessarily a technically deep position because product management doesn't write code, doesn't create designs, but they make sure that everything is moving together in the right direction. Any questions so far?
No, thank you.
All right. So, as I mentioned, a product manager, considering that everything is a product, product manager is a pretty important person. Product management is the glue that holds together product development, balancing user needs, business objectives, technical constraints to deliver a product that is successful in meeting what customer wants. Product management ensures that the company builds the right product, one that will deliver value to users and drive business success. And well, how does product manager accomplish that? Well, product managers collect feedback, they track metrics of a product, and then they iterate based on what they learn. PMs help products evolve and stay competitive in the market by applying the ideas and patterns that they learn and collecting the feedback and tracking all the information about the product's performance. So this slide kind of shows a product manager. I got an interesting allegory about this, that the product manager is a little bit like a Spider-Man in the middle of a web, working with all the different teams that they collaborate with. So a product manager does not manage teams. We don't really have an authority to tell a developer or a designer, go do this. We influence people without ordering them what to do. We convince them that the path of action that we decide to take is the right path of action. And this diagram kind of represents different teams that PMs tend to work with. Of course, there's going to be specifics in every company, in every particular situation. So not all the teams are going to be there in every situation, but this is potentially different teams that a PM may get involved with. So let's start at the top, engineering or development team. What kind of interaction a PM may have with a team? Well, for example, we want to add one-click checkout. How complex would that be to implement in this current sprint? Design, a user experience, a UI team. That's another team that the product managers interact with regularly. What might be a conversation with that team? Well, let's test 2 versions of onboarding flow and see which one leads to higher activation. This concept is also known as A/B testing. How about QA and testing teams? Something that a lot of people on this call, I'm sure, are familiar with. Well, that interaction may look like this. Let's make sure the new payment flow handles expired cards gracefully. So let's make sure that all the corner cases are covered. Data analytics, business intelligence. Can you help me analyze why user retention dropped 10% last month? So we look at the usage patterns and we'll work with data analytics team to make sure that there are data points that can give us the necessary numbers. And also if there are some unusual behavior that's noticed, we'll work with them to analyze what might be the root cause there. Marketing and growth teams, let's make sure that the users are aware of the new features that we're about to deliver. For example, the new feature that we're about to deliver solves a big pain point. Let's highlight that in our launch messaging. Let's make our users aware of what we're about to deliver. Sales, business development, you know, these are the people that work directly with customers often and can tell us what might be new customer desires or what may help us bring new customers aboard. So a conversation with them may look like this, you know, if we build a new integration, will it help close more enterprise deals next quarter? Product managers also work very closely with customer support. You know, we need to analyze the requests that are coming in from our users, and it will give us insights as to, you know, what users actually want, what user behaviors are actually like versus, you know, what they tell us in surveys. That's not always the same thing. That's, you know, one insight that I learned throughout my years as a product manager. What customer tells you they want and what they actually want is not necessarily one and the same. So working with customer support really kind of helps to reveal the gap if it's there. Or it'll help us identify, you know, if there are bugs in our product. The last feature we developed crashed something that was working before, for example. So it's very important to work with customer support and staying on top of the information that comes from that group. Finance and legal teams. This is another group that product managements need to work with. Is the new feature that we're about to deliver legal? Does it comply with the regulations that exist with our industry, our product? This is something that a product manager may not know off the top of their head. So a finance or legal team may be able to help to answer those deep business-specific type questions. And then, you know, the stakeholders, the executives, the leadership, we need to work with them to make sure that our product is aligned with overall business strategy. And if there are changes, they need to be aware of what's going on quickly as well. So one of the conversations that may happen there is, let's say there is a feature that cannot be delivered on time, and we should, you know, product manager is convinced that we should delay a release to make sure that that feature is delivered as early as possible. So if we delay this release by 2 weeks, we can double our onboarding conversion rate, trying to convince the business stakeholders that that our decision to delay the release is the right decision. Any questions on this so far?
Well, thanks. I have a question.
Yeah,
I would
please
like
go
to
ahead.
ask how much of this course will be dedicated to managing all these conversations, meaning especially when we have conflicting priorities like sales team and the development team on the speed or output. So what percentage of the course will be dedicated to that specific topic of the soft skills, of how to manage all of that?
Well, definitely we'll have at least one session that's going to be talking specifically about managing collaborations with different teams. But this is something that, you know, if you're somebody who's transitioning from a QA perspective, I'll take you to the next slide. It's a smaller circle, but QAs already work with quite a lot of the teams that are in that list. But yeah, definitely thanks for bringing it up. It's communication and being able to convince people of the right path of action is kind of a secret superpower that the PM needs to have to be successful in that role. So we'll be dedicating time to how to have these conversations for sure.
Thank you.
Alex, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a quick question. My question about the AI. So as we know now, a lot of companies are implementing AI chatbots, like all this functionality. So, and the QA testing of traditional apps actually is quite different from testing AI chatbots and other similar tools. So how this course will address it?
Well, this is part of the work that the PM needs to do in order to understand what outcomes the customers will be looking for the product, and then work with the development and with the QA to make sure that all the cases are covered. It's definitely quite different.
Different, very different.
Right, but you know, a PM can definitely easily provide a happy path to for a particular interaction with an AI chatbot. However, it's not that easy to anticipate all the possible edge cases and the unhappy scenarios. And these are the types of conversations that a PM will need to have in the course of their work with the engineering, with the QA team, specifically to make sure that these cases are addressed and covered. Hopefully that answers that.
Yes, thank you.
It's a you know, it's a team effort. PM kind of drives the team as to where we're going, but in order to deliver the product successfully, you know, a PM cannot do it by themselves. We really need everybody to work with us to get that done. You know, the designers, the engineering, the QA, everybody. If we are unable to get people to work together, then we're not going to be a successful PM. So you know, being able to work with all these different groups is a big part of the QA's sorry, not QA's, PM's day-to-day job. But like I said, you know, QA already has interactions with engineering and development. He already has interactions with design, UI, UX. He already worked with product managers and product owners. They work with DevOps. They already work with customer support success teams. So PMs, you know, QAs already have the skills to work with different teams and to collaborate with them. As a PM, it's just a bigger scale. But, you know, this is one of the reasons why QAs make such good candidates for transitioning to a PM role, because a lot of what they do prepares them for what needs to happen in being a PM. Any further questions on this?
No.
Okay, let's move on. So product management. There are definitely, you know, multiple roles that exist within the product management domain. Product manager, product owner, business analyst, Scrum Master, project manager. These are all somewhat different and specific. So let's take a look at some of the differences between these roles. So product manager versus product owner. One can say that product owner kind of reports to a product manager, so to speak. Product managers, they define the product vision, strategy, the long-term goals on a particular product. Product managers are the ones who conduct market research and identify the customer needs. They create the product roadmap and prioritize what to build and when. They're the ones who work to make sure that the product goals meet the business objectives and match what stakeholders want. They're the ones who are measuring success using revenue growth, adoption, retention. And they represent the voice of the business and the voice of the customer. Product owners, on the other hand, they work more closely with development teams, whether that's a Scrum team, Agile team. They're the ones who own and manage the product backlog, making sure that it's clear, prioritized, and ready for sprints. And they translate the high-level product goals that product managers come up with into user stories, acceptance criteria, and release plans. Product owner is the one who participates in daily scrums, in sprint planning, and retrospectives. And they represent the voice of the customer within the Scrum team and ensure that each sprint deliver measurable value to the customer and to business. So, the focus of a product manager is to why and what something needs to be built. And the product owner determines of, how that thing should be built and when specifically within the team it should be delivered. One can think of a product manager as kind of a flight planner.
Hello.
Yes? Is that a question? I guess not. Yeah, so a product manager is more like a flight planner. They determine the destination, the route, the purpose of the trip, which is kind of the vision, goals, and the business case. And product owner is like the pilot. They fly the plane, make sure we get there safely and efficiently, and we reach our destination. So this is, the day-to-day delivery and team coordination. PMs and POs can be separate roles. Depending on your specific company structure, it may actually be the same person as well. So I've worked in a situation where, my title was product manager, and my responsibilities encompassed everything, from managing the backlog and creating the stories for the specific teams that I work with, to also determining the product roadmap and figuring out the product vision and strategy. It is entirely possible for somebody to combine the two roles. It all depends on the specifics of your organization. And especially if we're talking about startups where, everybody wears multiple hats, it's entirely possible for one person to do all of these. Now, how about product owner versus business analyst? It's oftentimes that these two terms are used somewhat interchangeably, but they're not exactly the same either. Product owner represents the voice of the customer within the Scrum team. As I mentioned, they own and prioritize their product backlog, they write user stories, define acceptance criteria, and they ensure that each sprint delivers business value. And they're the ones who collaborate with the technical teams and the design teams to determine the scope, the priorities, and so on. A business analyst is somebody who gathers and documents the functional and non-functional requirements for a particular feature, or even a particular user story. They map out the business processes, and they work with stakeholders to ensure that the business and technical requirements are aligned. They validate the requirements, and they ensure that the solution meets business needs and is feasible. So a business analyst, in my experience, has been more of somebody who doesn't necessarily drives the team in terms of having the stories created and creating the backlog, but helps the product owner to understand the business logic of a particular feature better, and to map out the user process of going through that feature. They tend to be more of an industry or business expert as in a particular subject matter. So if we want another analogy, a product owner is more like an architect. They're given a vision by the homeowner, and they translate it into a blueprint for the builders and decide what features, like what rooms are going to be built first, what design elements needs to be present, that sort of thing. And the business analyst is more like a structural engineer. They make sure that every idea that the product owner has in terms of what needs to be built is something that can be done, something that meets the city requirements for the construction, and they document all the specifications and make sure that it can be executed correctly. Any questions on this?
So, the business analysts I want to ask about.
Yes, please.
So business analyst. So I was trying to actually, I have been preparing for CAPM examination through some courses and stuff by myself, and there is a business analyst class, and they ask about it. It's very important, like how important to get this business analyst thing. And I know I have friends, their title is business analyst in the, so how important is this business analyst part? Because and do we need a lot of math to do PM? Like it's I guess two questions.
Yeah. Well, so as I mentioned, like the business owner, sorry, not the business owner, the product owner, more, drives what exactly gets built and why. And business analyst is somebody who helps with the details. They make sure that a particular feature that the product owner and product manager believes needs to be built is actually feasible based on the industry regulations and the knowledge of the business overall. They help map out the business details of a particular process and make sure that the technical workflow of that process is something that aligns with the business requirements. And the roles are just somewhat different in that detail. Do you need to be a business analyst to be a product owner? Not necessarily. Same with a product manager. So in my experience, business analysts are usually somebody who have had quite a lot of experience in a particular industry. So the company that I work for right now, it's in real estate. And our business analysts are usually folks that have been doing various real estate work for 10 years, 15 years. And they are the ones who can help me as a product manager understand whether a particular feature that I want is feasible, meets the requirements in terms of industry regulations, and is something that can be delivered.
Oh, all right. So the math part, I know there are formulas. We're gonna have to have some calculations for retention rates, that rate, this rate. And do we need to have extra math classes, or is it an advanced math that we need to take classes for? Like, what's your experience in this?
It depends on the specific industry. For the most part, no. If you're in a highly regulated industry, such as finance or real estate or medical, then there are some very specific skills and knowledge that you need to have to be a good business analyst.
Okay.
Outside of that,
how about
if you were able to get to like a good algebra, good geometry, well, not even geometry, but if you were good at algebra on high school level, algebra 1, algebra 2, then you're probably going to be okay as a business analyst.
Yeah, and does it apply to project management too? Like, is project management that math heavy?
No. Well, funny you say that. The next slide specifically talks about project management versus product manager. No, project manager is something that's completely different. Although, no, there are some calculations that need to be done there, but they more have to do with trying to predict with whether a particular project will be delivered on time or not. So
All right.
not too math heavy either.
All right. Not my strength. That's why I was.
I hear you. Yeah. So
Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about, product manager versus project manager. These are quite different. Product managers define the why and the what should we build and why it's important to build that thing. And project managers define how and when. They are in charge of the project. They make sure that it's delivered on time and within scope. They're the ones who manage the resources, the dependencies, the risk. They track progress. They work with everybody involved to make sure there are no blockers. And if there are any blockers, they help them remove those blockers. They focus on efficiency. They deliver progress updates to the stakeholders. And the way they measure project success is whether it was delivered in time, how much of the scope was completed, and how satisfied were the stakeholders with what was delivered. Product managers, they own the product roadmap, they prioritize and shape the product, and they measure the success through the metrics such as user engagement, retention, and revenue. These jobs are somewhat both in the product domain, but they're actually quite different. As you can see, the deliverables and the expectations for these jobs are not exactly the same. In the course of this class, while we are going to talk somewhat about what it means to be a project manager, we're not really going to go that deep into this category. We are going to be focusing more on the product manager, product owner skills. Yeah. Same as with the previous two, and I kind of forgot to mention this with the business analyst versus product owner. Can one person be both? Especially if we're talking about the smaller companies, certainly that's possible. Throughout my experience, I have worked on a small startup team where I was doing the duties of everybody essentially. I was the product manager, the project manager, the business analyst. It was all there within one person. Certainly possible. But in larger, more structured enterprise companies, these would be separate roles. If we need, let's do another, analogy. In a kitchen, in a restaurant, a product manager is like the head chef. They decide what's on the menu based on, what they learn about customer preferences. And the project manager is like the manager of the restaurant. They make sure the ingredients are all there, that the kitchen is clean and runs smoothly, and that the meals are made and delivered efficiently and quickly. Any questions?
No, that's a
Right.
great analogy.
Thank you.
I
All
worked
right.
back in I worked in the restaurant, so it just actually I imagined everything you said.
Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate that feedback. I try.
That was good.
Yeah. So finally, one role that we haven't spoken about is Scrum Master. And a Scrum Master is a role that's specific to Agile. Believe it or not, Scrum actually predates Agile. It was originally developed based on observations in industrial manufacturing at companies in Japan, such as Toyota. But then it was later converted and as a strategy in developing software products and technical products. And essentially, Scrum was Agile before Agile terminology existed. it may sound like a project manager and the Scrum Master have very similar roles, and in some aspects they do, but not exactly. Well, project manager is responsible for delivering the project. They manage the scope, the schedule, and the budget. And a Scrum Master does not really have responsibilities like that. Their purpose is to empower the team. They make sure that the Scrum and Agile principles are followed and that the team works effectively. They're not responsible for any deliverables, such as features completed in a sprint. They're not responsible for anything in terms of planning. They're not responsible for the backlog. They are helping a team to be productive, to organize, and to improve their delivery process.
So what does it like? What do they have? Are we gonna learn about Scrum Master and why?
We're not gonna talk about the Scrum Master as much because, like a project manager, it's more of a process following type role.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Funny that you say that. There is going to be a class that we're going to start on the 12th. That's
Yeah,
going
because
to
I know
focus
that.
specifically on Scrum Master role.
All right. So because I know that the PM International have this certification too. I'm like, if they're under project manager and just it's like a median between the team and the product owner, I guess, like or project manager,
Not
no?
exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a Scrum Master. So they make sure. Agile process and Scrum process in particular, they have a set of ceremonies that need to be followed, such as daily stand-ups, sprint planning, sprint reviews, retrospectives. So a Scrum Master is responsible to make sure that those are followed diligently, they complete well, and produce workable outcomes.
All right. I'll join that too.
Yeah, so they're extremely process focused in kind of a narrow space. They make sure that there are no impediments to the team to follow the agile process, and they help the team stay focused and protects them from scope creep. So if a product manager or product owner goes in and says, well, guys, sorry, drop everything you're doing in the current sprint, and there's this feature that needs to be put in ASAP right now, it is the Scrum Master's job to say, sorry, once the sprint has started, the content of that sprint is set. So let's see if we can help you make sure that this extremely important feature that you need gets taken care of in the next sprint, and that we address it efficiently. Yeah. So a Scrum Master is sort of like a servant leader. They similar to a product manager. They don't really manage anybody in terms of people, but they're responsible to make sure that the teams are efficient and that the agile process is followed and flows through properly. But yeah, if you're interested in learning what a Scrum Master does in more details and becoming a Scrum Master yourself, we're going to have a course that starts on the 12th. That's going to be focused specifically on preparing students to get the Scrum.org certification.
Yeah, it hasn't been too long. I'm into this project management, learning about Scrum Master because the company that I worked with didn't have a Scrum Master. We had project managers, but we didn't have. Basically, we were doing what you're saying right now ourselves.
I see.
And it was like a smaller company, about 50, 60 people. So as also the teacher that joined earlier told, like we were wearing many hats.
Exactly. Yes. In smaller companies.
That's why I didn't know the name. And
yeah, I got you, Isaac. Yeah, in smaller companies, these things happen all the time. So you may be doing, in your current role, whatever that may be, whether you're a QA or a developer, if you're in one of those smaller companies, it's entirely possible that you're already doing tasks that are not normally reserved for somebody who's a project manager or who's a product owner or who's a Scrum Master. It's definitely possible that you've already had some exposure to completing these roles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why having some experience in a startup-like environment can be very helpful, because it kind of gives you an opportunity to try out what it feels like to be somebody else. But yeah, a project manager is more like a coach in a sports game. They plan the strategy, they assign roles within the team, they monitor performance, and they report results. And the Scrum Master is like a team captain. They make sure the team is focused. They make sure that all the issues within the team are resolved. And they make sure that everybody plays their role effectively.
Again, to the point analogy. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so anybody else, any questions about the different roles within the product domain? All right, moving on, let's talk a bit about the course. So the course overall is going to be 8 2.5-hour sessions. We're planning on meeting Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6, just like we are today. The communications, well, there's the Slack class channel. Everybody please connect to that if you're not connected already. I'm going to be posting the link to that Slack chat a little bit later in the chat of this Zoom session. And then there will be a class page at online.portnov.net for those of you that, and hopefully that's everybody. I'll keep my fingers crossed, but for those of you that do sign up and decide to take on this course, all the information will be posted on the class page in this channel. And of course, the page will be shared on Slack and everybody will get access. If it's necessary, I do speak both English and Russian. So the class is going to be in English, but please feel free to contact me on Slack if there are some clarifications that are needed to be given in Russian. I don't have an issue with that. Any questions? Okay, some of the tools that are used by product managers, and we'll be going over these, and definitely we'll have some examples and demos on how to use these tools in the class. And outside of Jira, one thing I want to say that all of these tools do have free versions, one way or another. So definitely you can play around with them in your own free time to get more familiar with them or to do some sort of work with your own ideas. So Asana, it's a great tool for managing tasks and project tracking, road mapping, and strategy planning. Jira, I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with it. Agile project management, development and QA work tracking, such as epics, work acceptance criteria, features. Jira is essentially de facto standard at this point for that. Slack, I'm sure that many of you already have experience with it. It's a great team communication, chat, and collaboration tool. And we are going to be using it for any class communications in this class as well. Miro, it's an online collaboration and whiteboarding tool. which allows folks to design process workflows and work together on workflow and design type items. Figma is another collaborative tool, but it's more specific for the UI user experience type design, prototyping, and wireframing. This is a tool that's often used in collaboration with the design team to come up with various UI components for whatever feature or product that you're working on. Draw.io, this is another great tool for creating flowcharts and diagrams and customer journey maps. The functionality somewhat overlaps with Miro. SurveyMonkey is a tool for creating various user surveys to collect customer feedback about perhaps a new feature that you released. You want to see how interesting it is to the users, how interested they are using it, whether it meets the needs that the users may have. And then Google Analytics, and there are many other tools that fit in this space as well, that provide web and product performance tracking, just giving you a direct view into user actions on your product pages or your website in general. Questions, comments, thoughts on this? And as I said, pretty much all of these except for Jira do have various free versions that you can get accounts for yourselves and start using them as we go over them in the class. Now, some of the course topics that we're going to go over. What is product management? And we pretty much touched on this in today's session. We're going to go over the product lifecycle, understanding the different stages of product's journey from ideation to launch and beyond, including development, post-launch support. What's the role of a product manager? What are the core responsibilities that a product manager has? What are the day-to-day activities? That sort of thing. We're going to talk about customer research. What methods are there to gather customer insights through surveys, interviews, and analytics to make informed product decisions. How to do market analysis to understand the trends that are out there, the competitors, the target audiences for a particular product you have in mind. How to create product roadmaps, set timelines, and manage stakeholder expectations. How to define product requirements. How to create epics, break them into user stories, and guide the development team in creating the specific product features. We're going to talk about cross-functional collaboration. What's the process of working with the different teams that PMs need to work with to build a successful product? The engineers, the designers, marketing, sales, customer support. We're going to touch on agile methodology, and depending on the desires of the class, we can do a deeper dive or can do, kind of just a quick review, depending on the familiarity of the people who continue with the class. What does MVP mean? A minimum viable product. How do you launch an MVP? And how do you validate assumptions and gather user feedback with minimal resources and minimum input spent? Product metrics and key performance indicators. Well, how do you define and track product success through metrics? I've built a product. Well, is it any good? Are there a lot of users? Am I making any money? These sort of questions. Stakeholder management, how do you communicate and manage relationships with executives, with customers? Making sure that they're on your side and you guys all move together in delivering the product. We're going to talk about prioritization frameworks. Well, how do you determine what should be built and in what order? So we're going to go over tools like RISE, which bases priority based on reach, impact, confidence, and effort, or Moscow, which breaks the features down into 4 groups: must have, should have, could have, and won't have. We're going to talk about risk management in a product. Well, how do you identify, assess, and mitigate risks throughout the product development process? Use of AI, as I mentioned, we're going to do a dive into how AI can help us with all the different activities that product managers need to perform. And we're going to also touch on user experience design, how to integrate the user experience principles into the product and enhance usability and customer satisfaction. Well, any questions? Any, the items that I covered in the last slides? Any questions overall? Albina, please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to ask you, do you think it will be okay and effective if I'll take the course, but mostly will be watching Zoom recordings, since sometimes time is not convenient?
Well, of course, I think it's going to be a bit better if you attend the sessions. However, every session will be recorded. If you diligently go through them and work on the homework and spend some time on your own to understand what's happening, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Plus, you can always reach out to me on Slack with any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Any questions?
So I would like to ask how much time will be dedicated to the preparation for the interview for the PM role, if any?
So in every single session, we'll be doing a lot of the things that we'll be doing directly correlate to different questions that can be asked in the interview process. And the entire last session will be dedicated to a resume, job search, and interview questions.
And would we have any type of exam the same time that we have, for example, for the QA course that was provided by Portnoy School, or not for this course?
As I mentioned, there is going to be some amount of support in terms of resume preparation. And please reach out to myself or Jana to see if we can provide any assistance with that. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Okay, well, so thank you so much for joining the class today. I hope what I have told you is interesting, and I'm really, really hoping that you will join this class and will continue the course through the non-trial sessions. In terms of signing up, one second, let me stop sharing. I'm going to post the link to the Slack channel for this class. Just give me one moment to come up with that. And please reach out to Arina, the administrator. She is in the channel. If you have any questions about how to pay and how to sign up. Hold on, where did that page go? Okay, here we go. down. So please note the link that I just posted in the chat. This is the portnow.net page regarding this class. It contains the link to the Slack channel, and it contains the link to the registration form for the class. So yeah, please feel free to go there and add yourself to the Slack channel and to register for the class. And let me also post the link to the payment page. And the most important question that I haven't answered yet or haven't brought up yet is how much does the class cost? So we are going to be charging $500 for this course. So if you're interested, definitely please sign up. And one last item that I wanted to mention before I let you guys go. 1 second. Can you all see my screen again? Hopefully, yes.
Yes.
So, oh boy, I guess that slide disappeared. For those of you who are interested in joining the class, I guess I'll be posting the homework in the Slack channel. So make sure to join there. Yeah, Nikolai, thank you. I appreciate your feedback about this session. And like I said, I really hope to see you all in the next class. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.